So in last class, we discussed about intent. In intent, like activity lifecycle we seen. So today we will concentrate on service lifecycle. Then if time allows, we will see the implicit intent, right? So for that, first I'm creating here one new project. So the new project name I'm taking as a service. So I'm taking that as a service, right? So while creating this service, now we will see first of all what is service. So service is nothing but it's a long running background process. Like it will handle the background processes. Like for example, once I click on one movie download, then I'm going back and I'm working on other activities. That movie can be downloaded. So that is one background, like alarm. So I'm setting alarm at 6 a.m. So that is completely, it is working on a background. So that when 6 a.m. is happens, alarm will ring so that we get the notification, right? So that is nothing but it's a service. The service is the background process that can be handled here background. So this is also one of the component of Android. So in Android components, so first is the activity, service, broadcast receiver, intent, and content provider, right? So on that activity life cycle, we already discussed. In a part of intent, we are discussing this services. So in these services now, here, see the service lifecycle diagram has displaying here now. So here now there are two types of services. One is the bounded and other is the unbounded service. So there are two types of services, bounded and unbounded service. So in unbounded service means whatever the service we create, it cannot depend on anything. Just once you create a service, automatically it will start. See here, on create, on start command, and on destroy. Automatically it will be destroyed without it. But one comes to here now, that is bounded service. So it is dependent on service, like on create method, unbind. Once it is created, then it will bind. It will bind with something. Then once it will execute, then it will unbind. Either it will destroy or it will restart. See, for the first one, the example as download. So like once I'm clicking an app, that app is downloading. So that will comes under example unbounded. It means that is not dependent. Just I click on that, automatically it will download at the background, it goes. But for the second one, alarm is the example. Like I set it alarm at 6 a.m. Right? That alarm is dependent on time. So that is dependent on time. So that is like it will depend step by step. Like when time 6 a.m., it will waiting in the background to 6 a.m. When the time is 6 a.m., then it can be interact with the user. So that is here binding with this is right. So now here the project once the project has created, other project we will see here. So the service project it is created here, right? Now here I'll take here in this two buttons, like here today I suppose to take here relative layout. So in a relative layout, we will see this. So I'm taking as a relative layout. And here, these all are not relative layout properties. So I remove this. And here I'll add this is service example. So service example, right? For this, we have to give an ID because it is in a relative layout. So for the next component you want to display, you need to give an ID. So that is I'm giving the TV1. Right. Next here, I'm taking the button. So that is match parent, wrap content, ID. So for the button, I'm giving one ID. So that is the BT1 and text. I'll take the text. So that is the start service. And some margin. I'll give some margin. So that is the 5dp. Done. Like I want to take one more button here. So that is the button. Match parent, wrap content. And then I'll give an ID for that. So that ID is like stop, sorry, BT3, BT2. Okay. So text, I'll give the text as stop service. Right, I'll give margin. So 5DP. But here, this is relative layout, right? We have to give a relation. So that is below at the rate BT1. So here we have to give a relation here. So that is below at the rate TV1. Done. Now it came from right now. So if you want to apply listener and something, so we are using the data binding, right? So I applying the data binding here now. So how we will apply here data binding? Then we'll close the data binding after these all elements here, right? I have closed the data binding. Done. Then now we supposed to add here data binding, right? In a build.gradle. So in a build.gradle here now in Kotlin options. So data binding enable equal to true. I added this. Let us sync this. I'm syncing that. Now we will see that once that is syncing, then we can add there and we will see that output. Still that is loading, just done it. Once the data binding has loaded, then we can easily add that. So I'm waiting for that. So still it is loading. So here we have to add the data binding now, but we will wait for that. So once that is done, we will add here data binding. So it is taking little bit time to load the data binding. So sometimes it will, because it will download the data binding, right? That depends on the net. Sometimes it will load quickly, sometimes it will take time. Okay, till it is taking time, just we'll try to add here. Where binding, so colon. So binding will be generated on the name of XML, right? So that is activity main binding. So activity main binding colon. Here we will put null, right? Then here now we will write that binding equal to. So that is data binding util dot. So set content. Here we supposed to write the context, right? Here we have to write the context. Done. Now, so we have to import this and then we can apply the listener for the buttons. On the buttons listener, we will start service and stop service. So the service lifecycle method will handle in a one separate service class, right? So the data binding has loaded. Now we try to import this. So data binding util. So it will take a little bit time sometimes. So data binding util input has came. So that I'll import. Then the activity main binding. So that is also done. Now here I'm writing the listener for the buttons, like that is binding dot. So bt1 dot set on click listener. Set on click listener. Here now I'll write var intent equal to, so intent of, so this is similar, this at the rate main activity. So from here now I'm creating this my service. So colon colon. So that is a class dot Java. All right. So then here now here the change, that is here we will write that start service. Instead of that, here now we will write one thing, that is the start service. So start service, then here we will put an intent. Done. So like similar here, now I'll copy these 3 lines. Right, I'll copy these 3 lines. And I'll paste here. So here, instead of BT1 here, now we will change BT2. So then here we will change this intent. Then here, instead of everything is same, instead of start service, just it is the stop service. That's it. Done. Now with this name, my service, so we will create one new service. So for that here, now I'm copying this. So copy this and here click on new, then here new service. Right here we have to create a service. So within this service now, so we supposed to add that my service. Click on finish. Done. See here now service has created. See, even when we create a service, the service also will be registered in a manifest file. See here, my service is registered in a manifest file, right? Now within this, now we have to write the methods. So what are the methods are here? Unbind, unbind, display, these all are methods we will write here. So still that is loaded. Once it is loaded, we will add one by one all methods here. So here now I'll add on create, on destroy, on rebind, on unbind. So on. So how many methods? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. One more is there, that is answer.com. So that is on start transfer. So these are like here, every place we will write the toast to see that. So I'm writing the toast. So toast dot make text. So here, just a minute. So here I'm adding the toast. So here the toast here context here. This is the service. Whatever the service we created, that is not a context. So here now we're supposed to write that is the get context. So get context means here it should call the super class only. So that's the reason. Just I'm writing that base context, comma. So here we will write the message. So then post dot length long dot show dot. So here this is the we are in unbind method, right? I'll put this on right like this. I'll add this everywhere. Just a minute. Something it is showing error here. What is that? Okay, here we will write like this. So I'll paste here everywhere. So just we will change the method name. Then we will run after that. So on start command, on unbind, so on rebind. So on destroy, on create, right. So now I'm running this. We will see this output now. So base context means it should call to our super class, that is like here main activity only it will call. It will take 1 to 2 minutes time so that we can just see what happens here, the output. Wow. Once I click on this first button, it will start the service. Then I click on that stop service, it will stop. Means like when you are doing in a real time, so that we have to update that start and stop services. So like in a start service, like once I click on that background, it should what activity should done, so that we have to implement code here. And when it is closed, what activity you have to implement in the background, so that we have to implement in this service class. It is taking time. We'll see. We'll wait. Yeah, it is launching. Now we will see that. So start service. Now I'm clicking here. Service is created here. Now stop service. So services destroyed like this. So start and stop services using it. Now with this, the intent the explicit intent related content has completed. So in explicit intent, what we done here now, one is moving from one page to other page. And also while we are moving from one page to other page, transfer data. So how to transfer the data between the activities. So that also we discussed. Then after that, how we are moving back to the activities and how to handle the back cases. So that also we discussed. Then finally, we discussed one more thing like activity life cycle. So how the activity life cycle will deal, like activity life cycle has total 7 methods, like how that is dealt, that we will see that. Then after now, the final topic of that explicit intent is the start service. So to start background process, so like how this will be, this is main and important things like what we discussed till now, right? And after that, the next topic, which is implicit intent. So implicit intent means it is invoking the system components. Like how we are invoking this, like invoking the system component means, for example, like I want to open camera, I want to open gallery, or I want to open contacts. I want to open browser. So I want to send an SMS. I want to send an email. So these kind of all the things will comes under implicit intent. But if I start now that we cannot close in implicit intent in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So that in detail implicit intent we will see in next class. After that, we will move on to the next one.